Yo, back in my bed for another really quick album review. Just my thoughts on the album. Under Pressure, 2014 album by Logic. Um, I'm wearing a strapback. You see this little strap here? That means it's a strapback and not a snapback. You remember when these things were still cool? Um, I remember everyone used to have snapbacks back in the day, and people made fun of me so much for like wearing because I had a strap instead of a snap. People gave me so much crap, and I remember getting so butthurt about it. Man, like people in their early teens care so much. Well, at least I did. I can't say that for everybody. Maybe you were more mature than me when I was in my early teens, but I remember just caring so much about everyone's thoughts about me, and catering to their every, catering to whatever I thought was cool, just becoming that or trying to be that, and you just end up with a bunch of fake 14-year-olds influencing other 14-year-olds to become fake too. None of us had our own individual thoughts. Anyways, so to kind of start off this review, I'll talk about some of the more positive elements of the album. Um, right now, Logic is a complete joke. He dropped a verse on whose song was it? I don't even remember. But he like kind of y'all remember his song in 2017 from um everybody, and it was just like, who can relate? Woo! And like, uh, it was about like suicide and stuff, and it was a serious song. Um, and then in this feature, he like played off of that, like, being like, yeah, I got hoes. Who can relate? Woo! It's just really dumb because you're just like making complete light and just making. Anyways, yeah. Logic is just not putting out good stuff in these recent times. Although I did enjoy some of his album. Was it the Young Sinatra 4 or 3? I don't know. Some of it was pretty dope, but the majority of it was just filler, and I really hope he takes a lot of time on his next album. Anyways, in Under Pressure, there is lots of really nice beats, and very jazzy progressions, very melodic, and I don't know if he produced any of it himself. I know he did produce a lot of the stuff on the one after. I don't remember the name of it. Um, what was the album where he's like in front of the game console or whatever? Um, Not the game console. He's like driving. I don't know if he's driving a spaceship. I don't know. In the name of that, I don't know. Anyways, um, I don't even remember. I'm so bad at keeping my thoughts together in these videos that I'm just completely everywhere, and I don't even remember what I was originally talking about. Um, but there are his flows and his double meanings and his puns and his multi-syllabic rhymes are some of his best on this album. And I would argue this is his best album as far as keeping a like consistent sound throughout the album, and keeping just something flowing, and uh like on his other albums he really tries to make it sound like this music he's making is way more important than it actually is. Um, so a lot of the positive sides are just there's a lot of clever things in this, especially in the song Nikki, where he talks about like this girl that he just can't live without, and then he explains in the end he's actually talking about nicotine. It's a really cool switch up from like Nikki, and then he instantly starts saying nicotine, and then you're like, oh, so that's what he's talking about. Yeah, it's just a really nice transition, um, let's see. So Growing Pains 3, it starts off with some people in a gang talking about, like, I remember it's like, yo, you remember that girl Shaniqua? It's like, yeah, blah 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 blah. Yo, we about to shoot somebody tonight, blah blah. You know, whatever. um, got no problem with that. But the annoying thing was, like, so you have the two people, like, the two main people talking. Like, you had the one dude panned a little to the right and the one dude panned a little to the left, right? Um, but then, like, at first when I was first listening to this song, maybe like, I don't know, like a year ago when I first started listening to some of the stuff from this album, um, like, I thought that the people talking in the background, I didn't really pay attention to them because I thought it was just, people in a group talking. And those two people were like the two main people you hear are like the people that are getting focused on. But then I realized that the other people are also in the conversation. So while the dude is talking, like, other dudes in the background are like agreeing and talking with him. And it's just like, that's not how conversations work. If I'm in a conversation with someone, the person next to you isn't just gonna start like talking over you, because he's literally talking like the whole time. I don't know. It's like, it's a really minute thing, but it just kind of grinded my gears, you know. So another thing that is super annoying about this album is I think Talia, that one girl that comes on and gives you information about the album that no one really cares about. No one cares. And one of them is like, during the making of this album, A Tribe Called Quest, Outkast, and I don't remember who else it was. It was in rotation during the making of this album, and that was really annoying. No one cares. Nobody cares. There's just a lot of information she gave that really no one cares about. There's just like, it's definitely his best album, but there's still lots of faults with it. It's the type of thing where you're like, oh, this is really good. I can't wait to see where they'll improve next, on their projects after this. But then what you got was a Logic that felt a little fame and a little bit of recognition from his good work in Under Pressure. And then on his albums after that, he just talks about how good of a rapper he is. In fact, he talks more about how good of a rapper he is than he actually spends time rapping. Rapping well, I mean. And another thing is his signature fast flows. Like, everyone's like, oh, Logic can rap so fast. He's like the fastest rapper in the game. That's dumb, okay? I don't consider myself a fast rapper, like a super fast rapper by any means. I think I can, I don't know, rap kind of fast, but that's not really what matters to me. I don't really care. Fast rapping a lot of times is just filler, because it's really not that hard to make unless you're gonna go Eminem style, where you're rapping very fast and also putting in super clever stuff. But Logic never really says anything clever while he's rapping fast. He's just rapping fast. So nowadays, whenever I rap fast, I try to actually say things worth saying. But isn't it annoying how much I keep pushing up my glasses? Because I'm going to keep doing it, because I'm doing it subconsciously. Where was I? Yeah, so, all of the flows that Logic does, I can also do those exact same flows. They're because he chooses syllables and words that are really easy to pronounce in rapid succession. And it's not like throughout the album he keeps a really stable flow. It's like exactly the opposite of, someone like Doom would do, where, their flow is everywhere. Logic has a very tight, stable flow, which I don't mind. I think is a good thing. But there's lots of places he really bites Kendrick Lamar flows. Kendrick Lamar also has a very tight, stable, fast flow in a lot of his stuff, especially like Section 80 stuff. I'm mostly referring to Section 80 stuff here. Like lots of those, like if you listen to Rigor Mortis or Hole Up, it's very like like, I mean, it sounds really good, but you can really hear lots of Kendrick influence. Especially, he even shouts out Section. Wait, did he say? I don't remember if he said Section 80 or Section 8. Maybe he wasn't referring to Kendrick, and he was actually referring to a Section 8. So I actually don't know there. But I have to say I really, really enjoy the chord progressions in this album, and when I saw that there was a 9-minute song on this album, I was like, no thank you, that sounds really boring. I don't want to hear a 9-minute Logic song. But as I started listening to it, and as I got through it, it just got really personal. Even though the drums kept the same, even though a lot, like, the chord progression wasn't always the same, but kind of repetitive, even through those things, like, it just works really well. Like, it was probably one of my favorites off the album. And, like, it's 9 minutes, and that's never the case for a 9-minute song. But, yeah, so, just to kind of conclude this, I'm doing this way too much, I'm very sorry. Just to kind of conclude should be a word. Just to kind of conclude my thoughts on this album, I thought there was a lot of things that could have been done better, but there's lots of really warm, melodic, sweet sounding songs here. Yep. I don't want to if I keep going too long, I'm just going to get really repetitive and annoying. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to give a score of a 7 out of 10. And that's a pretty good score in my opinion for a Logic album. And yep. Make sure to like the video, but I really doubt it because these aren't good videos.